Well, it's not a good idea to tell billionaires, don't come to America, don't start your business here, to tell the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and people like that, this isn't the place to begin your business, go somewhere else. That's a bad idea. But number two, you're going to tax people not when they sell something, but just when they own it and the value goes up. And what that means is that people are, these multi-billionaires, are going to look and say, I don't want to invest in the stock market because as that goes up, I'm going to get taxed. So maybe I will instead invest in a ranch or in paintings or things that don't build jobs and create a stronger economy.
Those also go up in value. So I don't understand that argument in like 10 different ways. But I do understand one thing, Nina Turner, and that is that Mitt Romney does not want any taxes on billionaires. And they are just scrambling with nonsense to convince people that we shouldn't do these taxes. Oh, and also, since we're not going to be doing the taxes, this reconciliation infrastructure bill should be as small as possible. I mean, there'd be no money to pay for anything. And those things would benefit like you watching this. I'm talking to you who's watching this video. That would help you, but no, you don't need it. You don't need it. At what cost? Come on, seriously, you're gonna tax a billionaire? They might subtly change their behavior for some reason. And so, Nina, we've seen this our whole lives. There's always gonna be this billionaire defense force, and Mitt Romney, for all the times that like, he's been willing to criticize Trump a little bit around the edges or whatever. When it comes to the core thing, which is protecting accumulated wealth, he is not going to defy his team, and his team is in defense of the billionaires.
That's right. He's gonna stay on the side of his team, come hell or high water, as we say in the African American community. Yeah, the billionaire defense squad is in full effect, both on the Democratic side and the Republican side. I mean, he sounds a lot like Senator Sinema, you ask me. I mean, they both singing from the same hymnal, and just throwing their bodies down. Throwing the bodies down in front of any taxes on the billionaire class in this country. I think I read on Dr. Robert Reich's post, and Robert Reich does an extraordinary job, former US Labor Secretary in the Clinton administration, of really breaking down these complex economic issues so that everybody can understand. John, he had a post on IG that really reminded us that I believe it was in the late 1960s, the difference between wages between the CEO of a company, for example, and the worker was like 20 times. Right now, it's over 300 times. 300 times more. And you get rewarded as somebody at the top of that particular food chain for messing up. But if you are the worker that helps that business make the profits that they make, you get penalized. No health care or bad health care, low wages, all of the kinds of stuff that does not make for a good life for everyday people in this country, no matter how they politically identify. And to have Senator Romney say, "Oh my God, they'll invest in art or a farm," he knows good and well that the entire system itself is designed for people like him and people who have more wealth than he does. God forbid we start to regulate this system so that they pay their fair share and not starve federal government so that we cannot provide services. This is class warfare right here at its worst. And you got to have some kind of gall to sit up here and defend billionaires. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Those poor lowly billionaires, they need their senators to defend them.
I do feel bad for them. Like, oh God, they're gonna be forced to buy art. I feel like they're buying art already. I feel like they're doing that. Right. Yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. This isn't even, come on, at least trickle down on me. This isn't even trickle down economics level. This is ranch and art. No, you're not gonna do that. That's not actually how it works. And look, it has been like a decades-long process to get people to understand some of the ways that the billionaires have both rigged the system and also the tax code, all the different tricks they have, which this valuation thing very much gets into. We're not gonna dive into all the specifics, but there are a lot of ways that they hide all of their wealth throughout their life from taxes, borrowing against it. That's a fun little trick that they can do that they don't have to pay taxes on. And then eventually they pass away, they hand it over to their kids, and nobody ever pays on this stuff. So they have fun little tricks, and slowly we're starting to understand them and getting a few people into elected office who will actually do something about it. And so they're getting a little bit nervous. I don't know why. They've still got Sinema, they've still got Manchin. I think it's ridiculous, the idea that they're gonna have this billionaires tax, but I hope that I'm wrong. I really do. but they do seem at least a little bit nervous. You got Mitt Romney. You also have Mitch McConnell. It's great to see those two getting along. He said this about the plan to tax billionaires a little bit. This harebrained scheme would have the IRS penalizing people who invested wisely and compensating people who have invested poorly. So that is the difference, everyone, between billionaires and people like us. They just invested more wisely. I really should have gotten in, on the ground floor in Amazon. I really just should have done. I should have taken, every poor person should have taken the millions of dollars that they were given by their family and should have invested it more wisely. That's the difference. How offensive is that? That this is the difference. You guys were too stupid with your investments. You were like, paying 40 to 50% of what you make on rent, and like trying to eat and have health insurance. Those are stupid investments, you dummies. You should have been investing in tech or something. I don't know, but that's what Mitch McConnell is saying. And this, Nina Turner, to me is like, it is. We were talking yesterday on the show about, how do you win back a majority? Well, they're clearly not going to do it with their economic arguments, because this is the best thing they have, is yelling at the poor and telling them it's their fault. And that's why they turn to the culture war stuff. Because this Mitt Romney stuff, this Mitch McConnell stuff, like how far past are the majority of Americans past this nonsense? Like I hope that they understand that these people are there to protect not just millionaires and billionaires. Like Mitt Romney himself is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's speaking in defense of his own personal wealth. Why would a poor person trust him?
That is the $1 million question, pun definitely intended. I mean, John, some people do buy into this because a lot of people in our country hold out for one day I too can be Mitt Romney, or one day I too can be Jeff Bezos, and find ourselves, because of the propaganda and how the programming, I will say, to believe that, don't mess with them because I want to be one of them too, when the likelihood that is ever going to happen is absolutely slim to none. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that people can't increase their wealth. I want to be very clear, progressives are not against wealth. It is unseen, it is greed, it is unfettered greed. The type of greed that starves government from being able to provide services, the type of greed that allows somebody like a Jeff Bezos, because Amazon ain't going nowhere, let's be clear. They are not going anywhere. So we need government not only to regulate them in a way that solves some of these conundrums, but for Jeff Bezos to have amassed the type of money. I'm just using him as an example, John. We can throw out some other ones. And then you don't want to pay your workers a living ass wage. They got to fight like hell to try to unionize and to have your entire company mount up against them. Hello, Bessemer, Alabama, and shout out to those employees. And we know organizing is going on in Staten Island right now, but that is what is begrudged. If you have to make your money off of the backs and the livelihood of other folks to their detriment, then something is wrong with the way that you are accumulating that wealth. And when you have that kind of money, where he's worth 22 billion or so dollars, 190 or something, because I know that him and the Tesla guy got into a tussle over who's the top dog in terms of being a 100 billionaire. It's something wrong, John. It's something wrong with these people. And I am hoping that the American people understand that the overwhelming majority of us do not have that kind of wealth, will not get that kind of wealth. And it is not necessarily, it is not good at all to have this outsized, wealth on the scale where so few people have so much and so many people have so little. And not only do so few people have so little, the prospect of them even getting a little more than what they have is very hard, because of people like Senator Mitt Romney and others on both sides of the aisle who will protect a system that is rotten to its very core.
Yep. And one of the things that we try to do, that thankfully some people try to do, is identify all of the rot. We don't like take one little section of it and say that's the rot, and then we pretend that the others don't exist. Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, absolutely rotten. Anyway, before we go to break though, I do want to let you know about something. So we gave you 2 members of the Billionaire Defense Force, Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell. Mitt Romney implied that if you try to tax them, it's pointless. They'll just invest in ranches. man, that dude can't stop thinking about horses, can he? Whereas Mitch McConnell really made an argument more about, I guess you guys are jealous, you poors, because you didn't invest wisely enough. Which of those Billionaire Boy comments did you find more annoying? You can go to tyt.com/polls and vote for either Mitch McConnell or Mitt Romney there. And in not too much longer, maybe on tomorrow's show, we'll reveal the results. So tyt.com/polls on the Billionaire Boys Club.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.